Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent, live from the Anson Offer Studio, where we are every Monday through Friday morning, 7 o'clock Central Time. Glad you're joining us, whether you're on Magic, the Noble Network.
There you are. You sounded terrible until that moment. There
I
you
was just busy welcoming everybody to the Anson Offer Studio and the Wade and Carter Show this morning.
Fantastic.
Welcome to everybody on Magic. Welcome to everybody on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Noble Network. We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely.
As you do every single Monday through Friday. It looks like, let me see who's on the podium this morning.
I don't see it. Let's see. Why don't I? That's interesting.
Greg Garcia, Scott Tomko, Bobby Leister. You've got to click on the comments at the top there instead of banners.
There you go.
So, post-Caldo Thursday, Bobby, I'm sure, went and enjoyed the Caldo yesterday at Veracruz.
There's Mark Finish, Daniel Wade White, Pete Strauss, Ralph Salazar, the boss, the Hall of Famer, Linda Chris Jr., Tammy Keeling coming in with some sounds terrible. Attila the Hun, always the critic.
Scott Snow, good morning.
There you go. Folks, the Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. It's 80 degrees under cloudy skies in Victoria, Texas, heading to a hot afternoon. I don't agree. Again, yesterday, my car registered, Cody, whether it's right or not. It's always relative.
Sure.
My car registered 105 yesterday.
It's probably right. Mine was 102.
Yeah. So you've got that. There's Zed Stewart, Scott Snow, Jordan Glass. Good morning. It does show tonight that from 6 to 8, we have a chance of some rain. And then tomorrow on Friday, the rain chances are best, well, from 6 in the morning until really all day. Pretty good chance.
Well, I'm sure tonight we're going to get rain because that tropical storm Bertha will be a depression and it's going to move straight across just north of Victoria, according to
whatever you're doing differently than yesterday, your audio sucks.
I'm not doing anything differently.
Maybe you can just talk like that because we're definitely picking you up on this end. Is
I too loud?
I don't know. I don't think that's possible. It's your show. You can scream if you want to, but I find it that you are uncharacteristically tinny at this moment. Now I realize I've got the melodious radio voice. I get that, but just try to keep up. What do you think's going on? I want to do something we didn't do yesterday, and I have a reason for not doing it yesterday. Yesterday, I was still stunned. I was still upset. Dare I say, consternated.
Did you say constipated?
No, that's a whole different issue. I was good. Ricky King says we're huge in Phoenix, Arizona. There you go. Thanks for checking in, Ricky. Be safe on the road, brother.
Appreciate you, Ricky.
We're going to do a double First State Bank of Louise double Astros update. So, see, 2 days ago, the Amai kid, the guy who just can't quite adjust to playing in the American world, he pitched pretty good. Astros win 5-3. But I could not get over the fact that Jose Altuve, in the bottom of the eighth, when we were up at the time 5-2, a insurance run would have come in really handy. And Altuve came up, and rather than doing what Altuve always does very well, and instead of doing what the baseball gods say should have been done, got runners at first and second and nobody out. Nobody out. The no-brainer thing is for Altuve to lay down a sac bunt towards third, force the third baseman to field it. Now we've got runners at second and third with one out. Now, the only guy that ever bucked that ever and did it well was Larry Durker when he was manager. He said, he goes, mathematically, it's not correct that runners at second and third, or a runner at second scores more often than with one out than a guy at first with no outs. And I agree, because in the era of the long ball, that's the case. But Altuve bats fourth, which he didn't bat there last night, which is a bonus. Instead, he hits a hot grounder right to the third baseman. And Ash, you made a great point yesterday. Altuve's batting about 230. And when he's batting poorly for him, he's a lifetime 300 hitter. When he's batting poorly for him, he's pulling the ball too much.
Yep,
he hits
absolutely.
One hopper to the third baseman who steps on third, throws to short, who doubles off Paredes, who throws to first and triples off Altuve, end of inning in one swing of the bat.
And Altuve was running hard down the line. And
yes,
I don't know that it was a matter, I don't know that he's lost a step, but you hit it so sharply to third. But the Altuve of old wouldn't have pulled that ball to third.
He would have gone hit it in the right field.
Well, he probably wouldn't have swung at that pitch.
True story. Patrick Strauss is exactly right. I say sixth, but Strauss says he needs to bat seventh or eighth. If you get him down to seventh or eighth, seventh, and then the guy that bats after him is like the Cam Smith, and then the DeCenzo guy bats ninth. I mean, it's almost insulting. I don't want to insult the guy. I don't care about his.
I don't think it is anymore. I think it was insulting 30 years ago when you didn't have a DH in both leagues, and the Astros were in the National League, and guys like Mike Scott would come to the plate batting 0.76.
Right.
And
when guys like Steve Carlton were famous because they hit 250.
Yeah, and Alan Ashby was batting 230 in the 8 hole as the catcher. Right? That's when batting seventh or eighth was a problem. But nowadays, 7, 8, 9, they want those guys to get on base so you can get back to the top of the order and have the big inning. And so it's not a slap in the face. You need production from 1 through 9 now in your batting lineup if you want to be competitive in today's era of long ball. Now,
so worth noting, in that game, Jeremy Pena hits a grand slam, followed immediately by Yordan Alvarez, who hits a ball into the upper deck. And last night, Astros in it when Hader gives up 1 run, which he's gotten kind of bad at lately. Hader gives up 1 run, and the Astros win 5-3. Now, last night, Pena has a leadoff home run. His 3rd home run in 3 straight games since rejoining the big club following an injury. Yordan Alvarez, Pena goes 3 for 4. Yordan goes 2 for 4, raises his batting average 1 step closer to the Triple Crown, and hits a home run. He had a home run that I wouldn't say he missed it. Yordan is such a great hitter for being a power hitter. I mean this like he's almost Mantle-esque. No exaggeration. He can hit a huge bomb, but if you need a ball hit over shortstop, he can go with a pitch away and do so. And last night, he just poked one into the Crawford boxes, and it was an obvious no-brainer home run. It was a pitch that was outside, and he just went with the pitch and hit it over the fence. No big deal. He didn't miss it, is what I'm saying. He hit it where he wanted.
The Astros have won 3 in a row.
Yes, and ever since Pena came back, now you will recall that when Pena came back, I said, man, don't be surprised. They may go win 10 in a row right here. And if they do, they'll be atop the worst division in baseball. But
Yordan is hitting 328 with 34 home runs and 77 RBIs.
It's amazing. That right there is a good season. That's a guy that makes $10 million a year, and we got over 50 games left. And right after him, Isaac Paredes just hit the Halliburton sign, Ash. I mean, he hit a monster shot. And the Astros win last night 5-2.
And Paredes has 14 home runs and 54 RBIs. He's not having a bad year either.
No, he's a great player. Somebody I'd much rather have right now than Alex Bregman. Lambert pitched 6 innings. He gave up 6 hits, but he scattered them. He had 2 runs. They were both earned, and he had 3 strikeouts. That young man has done his – I'm trying to remember what stat they put up last night. It might have been opposition batting average. I don't remember. He's done really, really well. So that's your first State Bank of Louise Astros double update.
And Altuve got the night off last night.
Yeah. And I'd like to see him take tonight off too. He looks tired. The Astros are winning. They won 3 in a row. Jeremy Pena has been a shot at
2 games back now.
Yeah, they're 2 games back in the hapless American League West. But
where the Rangers are 500 and still leading the division. They lost yesterday. Astros have today off. They travel to Chicago to play the White Sox, who I believe are leading the American League Central.
Yes, which is amazing on its own. So let's talk
They
about
were dead last in the American League last year.
Let's talk about a couple of Trumpisms. One is, and I have my own thoughts in this, and I want to see what yours are. The approval rating for Donald John Trump among Republicans is at an all-time high, 80%. It's higher than the approval rating of Barack Obama among Democrats at his personal approval peak. Number 3 on that list is George W. Bush. My assumption is it's exactly immediately post 9/11 when the country was kind of unified, and his approval rating still was below 80% among Republicans at that time. So Trump is among his peers, among his party mates, the highest approved president ever right now. What that tells me, as the cynical skeptic that I am, because you pointed out that his overall approval rating is only like 36 or 38%.
36%. And just to compare that with, according to Newsweek, George W.'s wasn't much higher ahead of the 2006 midterms, and Barack Obama's was in the low 40s when the Democrats lost control of the Senate. I'm not as convinced as I was a few months ago that the Republicans are going to lose control of the House, and I think
I agree.
The Senate will remain split. So I'm not sure the approval rating matters. The only approval rating that really matters will be voting day on Tuesday, the first Tuesday in November.
But it's actually kind of voting month. It's like Pride Month. It's a month of voting right now, because you've got to, if you're an illegal, you've got to get registered and all of that. But I think what it says to me personally is that the country has never been more divided than it is right now, because the gap, he's over here at 80%, and the Democrats have to be so far down, like 85% against him, literally against his presidency, in order to make it all, if it's a 50-50 deal, for it to average out at 36%, there's got to be more hate, like a 90% disapproval. Well, you've got 20% of the Republicans saying nix to Trump. So then if you had 80% of the Republicans, that would be over half of the country, or at least half of the country, which 80 and, 20 might get you to 36. Somebody could do that math if we started out with 50-50. But I agree 100%, Junior. He says we're divided as a country thanks to Obama. But, the problem with that is, and I've said this here before, and I like to say things that have like a little bit of a shock value when I can actually talk my way out of it. The perception is that Black Lives Matter in this equation. The perception is that the inner city Black American is what's pulling down Trump's approval. There's just not enough of them. That's the truth. Between Planned Parenthood and non-existent fathers, non-present fathers, there's just not enough blacks around to matter, except as they are Americans. You can't say, like the Democrat Party has always said, well, we've always got the Hispanic vote in our pocket. I think those days are over. And it doesn't mean that those folks are going to vote for Donald Trump's agenda. It means that the educated involved, engaged, especially Mexican American voter says, what is up with all this LGBTQ crap? They're tired of it, man. These are family.
Well, when you only have 60% of registered voters turning out to vote, and Black Americans are roughly maybe 15% of the population. So
That's right.
That still matters when not everybody goes out to vote. If that block, any block that's about 15% of the population turns out to vote in an election, they could have an impact on that election. It's still not irrelevant. Total number wise, 15% of a population shouldn't sway much of anything.
Right.
But when you don't have full 100% involvement in voting and participation, 15% can really swing an election if they turn out en masse. And that's what the Dems are trying to hope they do. But I think there's been enough Black Americans that have walked away from the Democrat Party that they aren't as sure a thing for the Democrats as they have been historically.
And the Dems don't really have a platform. They don't really have anything working, except if you ask a Dem, what do you want? It's going to be the opposite of Donald J. Trump, which brings me to one. Cody and I were talking prior to the program about the Trump accounts. And I look at this, and I could be wrong, but I look at the Trump account as like a 401k for people who don't work yet. They're just able to get in and take advantage of the stock market. And if I'm understanding right, and Cody, if you fund your child's 401k or your child's Trump account, is that pre-tax money? I mean, you're putting post-tax money in there. Can you write that off? Is that, Ash, do you know? Does anybody know? Are you being able to, is that able to be, I think the max is $5,000. The mom can put in $5,000. The dad can put in $5,000. The grandparents can put in $5,000. Is that tax exempt money that they put in? If you write it in, is it almost like your tithe at church? Can you take that off your taxes?
And it says it's not tax deductible. You cannot write off donations to your personal income taxes. The accounts offer tax deferred growth.
Okay, there you go. So there's the side of it. If you put it in for your kid at $5,000, and it over time that $5,000 becomes $35,000 or $40,000, then they will have to deal with the taxes when they take it out. But here's the deal: if as I understand it, and because it's being put in with post or taxable funds, I could put $5,000 to each of my grandkids' accounts.
You can put $5,000 in my daughter's if you want.
There you go. You can donate that to anybody you want. And
in fact, all of our listeners can do that.
Right. A GoFundMe for Cody's kid. But here's the deal. That just using I call it, the number of 7, every 7 years, más o menos, that money should double in value. If I put $5,000 a year into a kid's account, and so does Dawn, so that's $10,000 a year. When the kid's 18, we've put $180,000 into the kid's account flush. Not to mention that the first year's 10 doubled when the kid was 7. The second year's 10 doubled when the kid was 8. Your $180,000 of raw input at the end of the kid's 18th year. I mean, it could be worth way over $250,000. It could be easily $500,000.
I think you can put in $5,000 per kid per year.
Per adult.
No, per year. Contributors up to $5,000 per year can be contributed by guardians, family, or friends.
It's so $5,000 maximum per account per kid.
Yeah.
So
by everybody who puts money in. Or I can put in $5,000.
The limit is $5,000 per kid. So that kid can only get $5,000 in contributions per year.
Oh, okay.
And it grows tax deferred. And I believe depending on the market returns, basically that value at 18 would be anywhere from what I read, 200 to about $600,000
It's a
in
lot
that
of money.
account.
And it's certainly enough to pay for a kid's college. Greg
Or
Garcia.
start a business, or buy a home, or do any of the things that are allowed under that account. It's nice seed money for a kid when
Yeah.
they, you know,
And
I
they
don't know
legally
that I
could be
would turn
worth
a
a
kid
lot.
loose with 600 grand at 18 years old, but
Right.
it's, you know, and then don't forget though, by the time that kid's 18, the way we print money, the value, the purchasing power of 600 grand ain't going to be what 600 grand is worth today.
Right. Cody's big concern was what happens when the fund really grows? How long before the federal government decides to use that money? We're going to borrow that money. We're going to use it to prop up Social Security. And then so the people that are actually donating to your kid's account will actually get to get their Social Security. But we're going to give it back to you because we're the federal government. That's his main concern.
I don't think the federal government can go back in and touch your contributions to it.
There you go. Monty Howard says Trump accounts, he says, my look says they are funded after tax dollars, which makes them generally equivalent to a Roth 402s. So real quick, let's try to get back on our schedule. Let's take a quick break and we'll go from there. I want to remind you, I just saw that Clayton Helt checked in. If you need good quality, clean topsoil, if you need to dress your lawn, if you're building a home, and you don't want to start out behind the 8 ball with a bunch of weedy soil, reach out to White Wing Materials. That's 902 Sand. If you've got a project, you want to put down pavers, you want to extend your patio, it's a fun weekend project that will last 6 months, but you can call Clayton and the folks at White Wing Materials. You'll find them on Facebook just as well. You'll also find Commander Cody on Facebook. If you need help building like your initial website, you need help building a website, a Facebook presence, monetizing a Facebook account, reach out to Brand Us. You can find him on Facebook. Veracruz Restaurant, we've already mentioned. Today's post call to Wednesday, Thursday. Get in today for the full menu. I know a friend that went by yesterday had a chicken fried steak. Great. It is great. I highly recommend it. USA Foundation Repair. Get rid of the cracks, get rid of the squeaks, shim up your pier and beam home, let them come out and level your slab foundation. They can do all of that for you. Went Services, inviting you, if you're a licensed electrician, they're hiring. They're extremely competitive on pricing and benefits. Reach out to Went Services today. Let Aaron Went and his team provide the vehicle, the insurance, and all of that. And you go do your thing. Now, I've just answered the phone here because one Peter McNally is calling. I'm going to get Pete to hang on a minute, and then we'll visit with Pete. Hang on, Pete. And then Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Let Palace Bingo help you have a party. Go out there, enjoy the L&L Grill. The food is great. The food is reasonable. I've actually asked, is this deal subsidized by somebody? Because the food is very reasonably priced. So reach out at Palace Bingo and support 7 local charities. Let's see. Pete, are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here in the Big Apple.
Well, you sound upbeat. New York seems to be your kind of town. I mean, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I'm going to start spreading the
My
news.
brother told me.
How are
When I
you?
got out of college, my brother said, "Don't come here. It's too competitive." He said, "Go to the West Coast."
There you go.
I'll never forget that.
What's on your mind, brother?
I just wanted to call and report to you about Mondami. Is, everyone I've asked, and I've asked a lot of people, I've heard not one bad thing. The average person in New York, they seem to really like Mondami. He's such a nice personality. He's kind of like a Bill Clinton. I mean, he's kind of friendly to everybody, that type of guy.
So you think he's kind of the softer side of communism? I mean, he's the nice comrade that we can.
You start using words like that, and it kind of turns everybody off.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about the reality.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You don't know the reality. but he's trying to make New York a cheaper place for people to live.
And that makes perfect sense. That's really going to happen, isn't it? New York's going to be a cheaper place to live.
I doubt that.
Only if you spend other people's money. You know, I'm curious, and you may know something about
it's artificial, but it's artificially deflated.
People here really care about other people, seem to care more about it. There's a lot of wealthy people here that care about other people.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't believe that the majority of those uber wealthy are in any way enamored with his tax and spend philosophies. I think if I had a condo there and I happened to even be from, Dubai, that I would be like, how much did my taxes go up on that condo? Okay. I'm not saying they won't pay it, but it's not because they're benevolent. It's because they're being forced to do so. And my thought to you is this: at what point I don't support Zorman talking about Netanyahu and war crimes. He's a mayor. Nobody cares what the mayor thinks. Can you imagine if Dwayne Crocker went on the news and said, I'll tell you this, if that Jew comes here, we're going to arrest him for war crimes. Same thing. He's got the same authority Mondani does, which is zero.
I think the press blows that out of proportion. I think if he does arrest him, it'll be a ceremonial, and he'll let him go in about 5 seconds.
I'll tell you this. I think if any of his people get within 100 feet of him, the Jews will kill him right then. You'll have mayhem in the streets. There is no way that Benjamin Netanyahu's security detail would let the New York police arrest him. There is no chance.
Yeah, Brent.
Diplomatic community. It worked in Die Hard.
It's all a political show.
It is. Everything's politics, and as is Mamdami's benevolence and his charity, and I agree he's a fresh face. I just don't see this.
Great speaker, and he has a nice family, and I mean, just people like him. He's a nice person,
So let me ask you this: if you lived there, would you be inclined to vote for him? I mean, because
I haven't met anybody that doesn't like him.
So
and I was around some people yesterday that they're big in the theater business, and they all seem to like him.
I read a deal the other day.
You talk to
everybody liked Fidel Castro till he got in
people and stuff like that. They all love him. Yeah, they love him. They say, he's going to be he's a bright spot for New Yorkers.
Well, and Ash makes a good point. Fidel Castro liberated Cuba from the man. Right. Yeah,
very popular.
He was well loved, and then he killed everybody.
And they loved Cuba. They loved Fidel at that time. They sure did.
That time,
Batista out of there. Yeah, Batista was the bad guy.
Yeah,
but there's no comparison between Cuba and New York City. But I think what people don't understand, and sometimes I think, we're so far away from it that we don't understand the amount of wealth that's in this city. I mean, there's people here with lots of money.
I know Mamdani gets it. He wants to tax them. Yeah. So here's my question.
I don't understand why so many on the left are so angry
at making a lot of money.
Well, here's my thought. I know that I didn't understand the nuances of rent control, but I do understand this. If you've got a piece of property in an inflationary economy, and there's lots of wealth in New York, so there's lots of demand for real estate, and I cap your rent, I'm making up a number at $10,000 a month, but the building's getting older. Peter's locked in. He only pays $10,000 a month. And the building needs major repairs. It's going to now, instead of costing $500,000, it's going to cost $3 million to rewire the whole building, to secure the sprinkler system. All of a sudden, the guy can't do it. Now, at the same time, he can't afford to do the upgrades on the building because the rent, his top line is capped. He's only getting $10,000 a month from Pete. On the other side, he's being taxed higher than ever by the city, because he's got this immense valued building that now the city wants more money out of him so they can provide these services like grocery stores that compete with the local guy. When all that is said and done, there's an abyss there, right? There's a gap. The expenses are going up, the taxes are going up, but the rent is flat. I read a deal the other day that said that it's not the banks that take over these buildings when they come into default. It's the city that takes over these buildings in the name of preserving the rent. Mom Donnie is in the middle of, I'm not saying it's his fault. There is a real estate grab going on in New York City. That's what's going to happen. The city will end up owning a bunch of property.
Question about that. The wealthy are going to get wealthier. Yes, there's no doubt about that. Don't believe any of that other stuff. No, the wealthy are going to get wealthier.
Wow.
What the New Yorkers are trying to do is make this an affordable place for an average family to live and work and visit.
See, and I just don't believe that an average family has any business living in New York City. You're not an average,
Don't. The man I was with last night, he's my brother-in-law's general manager. He lives in Brooklyn. He can't afford to live in New York, and he probably makes a good salary. But I mean, it's very expensive to live here. Yeah.
So what are you going to do today? Give us like you're a tourist, but you're a local. What are you going to do today in New York?
UN. The first day I went to the UN, it was fabulous. I could spend a week in there. The UN tour was unbelievably good. And the tour guide was really a sharp man, young man. And, I've been going to the shows every night. And last night I went to see Just in Time. And the big new star on Broadway is a guy from Carroll High School.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jeremy Jordan.
From Corpus Christi, Texas.
He went to Carroll High School, yeah. And so my brother-in-law is the main producer of that show. So it's doing extremely well.
That's awesome.
Then, I'm going to see Ragtime. That's been revived. It won a Tony for the best revival of a musical. My brother wrote the book for Ragtime. So that's going to be an honor for me to go see that again.
That's awesome.
It's packed every night. It's up at Lincoln Center at the Vivian Beaumont Theater, and it's packed every night.
Now, it's
a very apropos story right now about people struggling in New York. I mean, that's what the show's about.
Here's a dumb question.
Jewish family. Pardon me?
Here's a dumb question for you. Have you used your connections to procure great seats to these shows?
Yes.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Hey, we're going to let you go, but we always love to hear from our man on the street, Pete. We love you, sir.
New York is made it, the press makes it up to be the bad guy sometimes. It's not at all. The people are very happy and they're wonderful, and it's crowded everywhere, and people are spending bukus of money. It's just a fun place.
Yes, sir. Well, you be well. We'll talk to you, buddy. Bye-bye. Can't help but wonder if some of those folks are spending money, because Donald Trump's economy is doing better than the news wants to report.
Well, there is that. I mean, here are a couple of things Pete said that just jump out at me. He seems to make an argument that people have a right to live in New York City. They don't have a right to live in New York City.
That's right.
If it's getting to a point, go live somewhere more affordable.
Well, that's why God made New Jersey.
Well,
a lot of people say
they're taxing the heck out of people in New Jersey now.
Yeah. They say, I can't afford to live in the city. I live in New Jersey. And then you look at housing over there is ridiculously high too. I guess there is a place for those folks. If you're a suits type attorney, if you're a guy that needs to be in the financial center of the world, it makes sense. I can't imagine being a fresh post-education young person and trying to live there. I think it would just be very, very prohibitive. Linda Chris says Dallas is going to end up being the new New York. Close behind is Austin. We will have to step.
The difference in those cities, though, they don't have the inner city. Nobody lives in the city.
Right.
They all live in the suburbs of the city. The downtown areas of Dallas, Austin, New York, or Houston, people don't live there like they do in New York City.
Fair enough. I won't put any pressure
to recreate that, but it just doesn't work.
Won't put any pressure on you about tomorrow. Say it for me.
Tomorrow?
Well, see, you've completely lost your Canadian accent, which I used to really like. You're just so assimilated. I'm surprised you didn't say, mañana. It's okay. But by Monday, we will have a Wade and Carter worthy studio quality microphone in front of you, because this experiment is not good. And it's not your fault. I'm just
I
blaming
don't know
you.
what's going on.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't sound good. And I know that we have about a dozen of these microphones laying around, so we need to get one hooked up. And if you need, did you take that little soundboard just in case?
Yeah, working on it. I just don't have
Either that or somebody stole it.
I don't have all I need to hook it up yet.
Okay, well, good. We'll get that this weekend. I'll give you till the weekend to pull that off. What else we got? So we talked about Trump, 80% approval. Do you have an Iranian update?
I do. So glad you asked.
I'm here for you.
Yesterday, Trump, the president, announced that every time Iran hits a ship, we will destroy a bridge or a power plant.
I like it.
And the direct quote is, the United States will destroy one bridge or power plant every time Iran targets a ship transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians now pressuring the Houthis to close a strait that they can have control of. So, and if the Houthis get involved, what role does the U.S. play in having to police that part of the world that I read controls anywhere from 25 to about 35% of energy and marine traffic and all the goods that are transported around the globe. So does this thing start escalating and expanding into areas outside of Iran?
Well, isn't that what? So to me, every time Iran targets a ship, it's an act of terrorism. They're not targeting only American ships. They're just targeting ships like to snub their nose at America. So then we retaliate because we've warned them. And I'm not judging that action. And then they decide, well, then we're just going to start bombing something in Jordan, which again, to me, is an act of terrorism. They're trying to intimidate the entire region just so they can somehow hope that all those people get together, band together, and exert leverage on the U.S. to just leave. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're too deep in it now. I don't necessarily disagree with you that, number one, there'll never be peace in that region. I think I can find that in my Bible. And number two, you can't really win a war against a bunch of idiots that are willing to die and live in the mountains. We saw that in Afghanistan. So I think what you do, which is what I think Trump is doing systematically, is you just destroy their ability to make money and you force the regime change from within. If you blow up all their bridges, if you cordon off their ports, and you make it so they can't import or export anything, and they can't even move oil around the ground or the rail because it's all been destroyed, their people will go, hey, man, I'm out of rice. I ain't happy here. And it will force change from within. And if it doesn't, then let them all starve. Let them starve.
The Houthis apparently attacked 2 oil tankers in the Red Sea this morning, or I guess this afternoon over there. But so it's escalating, and they're backed by Tehran and Iranian money.
Right.
So, and apparently, seeing reports that Iran's, inflation is up triple digits since last year, mostly because of this conflict. But is that Trump's fault? Is that our fault? Or is that the Iranians' fault for being led by a bunch of despots and dictators?
Right. 100%. It is interesting. I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and think that the literacy rate over there is probably very low. The folks are just somewhat naturally subservient, like the sheep they herd, to be, just under the control of the government.
Well, because the government keeps them uneducated. That's how you control a population. You keep them uneducated, you keep them uninformed, and you keep them down.
Maybe that's what our school systems are doing to our kids. They seem to be
School systems are doing it to our kids in many ways because
an indoctrination station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Democrats and the communists have controlled our education system for so long. And thankfully, we voted them out of the school board here in Victoria.
Well, you teach your kids. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. You teach your kids that if you need a meal, come to the school. If you need someone to listen to you about your gender concerns, come to the school. We won't tell your parents. And I'm not talking about VISD, I'm talking about public schools in general. I'm not dogging VISD. I'm just saying in general, the schools are the safe haven for kids. There are plenty of school administrators who believe, maybe with legitimate concern, maybe they see so much in the hallways, they believe the schools are better suited to raise your kids than you are.
They believe that, but listen to how they always framed it, right? Well, a small percentage of kids get abused, so you have to provide an opportunity for all kids because
To
all
be
of
abused.
a sudden, no, to be heard, because
Next.
all of a sudden, all kids don't have a safe space at home to talk to their parents, which is complete bullcrap. Complete bullcrap. But they've spun a narrative to make it seem like school's the only place that all kids can talk to their counselors.
Right.
And talk to somebody about their concerns. Most parents are good at addressing those concerns, or they were in the schools and but again, it's a small percentage who can't talk to their parents, but it's been blown up to be everybody. Every kid can't talk to their parents, so the school has to take over. It's absolute bullcrap.
And the thing is, I mean, I know a lot of school administrators.
Back on that narrative.
No, I know a lot of school administrators, and most of them are pretty sharp, but I don't believe that the average school teacher has any business counseling a child about much of anything other than reading, writing, and arithmetic.
I agree completely.
Hey, let's take it. When we agree, it's so rare. Let's take a quick break and see what we can discover. Let's see, where were we? Chesnick Furniture inviting you in. If you need bedding, they've got Stearns and Foster. They've got Sealy Posturepedic. Both of these have the ability to use the cool memory foam technology that's also in the Tempur-Pedic line, all three of which are available at Chesnick. And I'll tell you, you can go in there and spend anywhere from $300 or $400 to $3,000 or $4,000, depending on your commitment to your quality of sleep. Chesnick will work with you to achieve your bedtime goals. I would buy my bed there again. They're that good. Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe. The Vita Cafe, you want a California avocado wrap, get on by there. You want a glass of wine to go with it? They've got it. Go by on Sunday for a brunch. Go by. How many of you listening, by a show of comments, have ever been to the Vita Cafe? It's right there there you go. Commander Cody raised his hand. Get by there and check it out. You would be amazed at the broadness of the offerings. You will love it there. So get in to Paravita for wellness. Get in and let Tammy Keeling see, that's why I try to ignore it. Let Erica Briggs, two totally different people, let Erica Briggs review your blood work, look at your macros, look at what's going on. She can help you with your diet. So get in and talk to her. There you go. I'm back with Ash. Ash, we were going to talk about voter fraud also in New Jersey. where the governor there said, hey, man, and this is such a common cop out. You know, we talk about computers being garbage in, garbage out. You get out of it what you put in it. 6,600 people so far identified as going in to get their driver's license. Maybe Americans, maybe not.
No, they weren't.
They weren't.
They were non-citizens, self-identified non-citizens, and a software glitch.
That's what they called it.
Turned them into eligible and registered voters.
Now, it appears that only 400 of those people voted, but they knew they weren't Americans, didn't they? And they also were probably, I'm going to tell you this, I'll bet you none of those people voted Republican. That's what I'll bet you. None of them voted for a Republican candidate. That's what I think.
I doubt it.
So they called it a software glitch when in reality, it's somebody manipulated the system. The computer doesn't do anything on its own.
Or programmed.
Right.
To do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then probably cultivated those votes. That's my take on it. So that is a major concern. The governor there saying we can't have this, we won't stand for this, and sounded very sincere. And even though the governor there is a Democrat, I think there's really a chance that they didn't conduct.
The only reason they went looking is because I think they're being sued or investigated for election fraud. That's the only reason they went looking.
Yeah.
They weren't gonna look. They didn't care.
Yeah.
There you
go. Stephanie Connie says the company they're blaming the software glitch on has said it wasn't a glitch. It was how they were manipulating the system. So it's like you blame XYZ software and they go, whoa, 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 we didn't do that. Y'all did that.
Now, this story is going to get very interesting. And I think 6,600 is the tip of the iceberg. And I think 400 votes is the tip of the iceberg.
But what level, in the big picture, 400 votes is no big deal. But what level of systemic corruption is acceptable? I think the answer should be the quest for zero.
Zero when you're talking elections, absolutely. When we're told that your vote matters and every vote matters and your vote counts. You know, what if there's a candidate in New Jersey who lost by 200 votes and 400 of those votes were illegal?
The party that can convince you that a certain voter fraud limit is acceptable is the party that will be in charge when they decide that elections are no longer valid and that there's no reason to have an election. I mean, the Democrats are doing roughly the same thing. How many people that voted for, I don't know, the mayor of New Jersey, how many were arguably illegal? You never know. You won't ever know. There's no way to go back. I guess there probably is a way to go back, but absolutely. Torrin Bale says fair elections should be bipartisan. But the fact is, Torrin, if you take out all the they can't.
The fair elections is a bipartisan issue. 85% of Americans want the SAVE Act passed. That's all Americans, Republican, Democrat, Independent.
Stephanie Connie says that the numbers now 35,000 in New Jersey have been confirmed to be illegal voters. 152 illegals have now voted in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was 6,600 the other day. Now if Stephanie's correct, 35,000.
Yeah, she researched. Right. 100%.
I mean, we know New York and New Jersey is filled with illegal immigrants because they're all there doing the jobs nobody wants to do, right? That Americans don't want to do.
Lazy white people don't want to do those jobs.
Which is a myth and complete BS. Absolutely.
Where was it, Cody? There was a group a while back that had said, if you deport all these people, nobody's going to do, I don't know, it may not be that easy to find. Bless his heart, he's over there typing, but it was, if you do this, unemployment's going to go through the roof because there's nobody's going to do these jobs. And apparently they were all, it was at a bakery, Ash. It was huge, like 700-800 people. And all the jobs were filled like the next week with Americans. I don't know.
No, it's bull crap.
We will see what happens. So, yeah.
Let's see what else is happening in this great world.
Did we figure out yet when
the Urban Institute is the one pushing that policy out or pushing that concept?
That what? That Americans won't do those jobs?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's urban.org.
Urban.org. Y'all should go check it out.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I just find it interesting that even among our crew here, which is substantial, there's no real just outrage. Like nobody seems like they're about to burst at the seams about the fact that our republic is under attack, not only from China, but it's under attack by extreme leftist communists who are in part funded by China. Very interesting. We talked, what was the name of that area over there that has birth tourism?
The Northern Mariana Islands, along with, I think there's a bill that was filed to stop that from happening, because apparently there's several Chinese companies that are
Come here
basically
for the weekend.
flying them in. They're having babies. They're in U.S. territory. So all of a sudden their offspring are now U.S. citizens. And here's what's, I'm pretty sure a lot of this is in response to the fact that INS is now stopping obviously visibly pregnant women from entering the U.S.
Right.
Coming here for a vacation when they're 8.5 months pregnant, so they can drop a kid on U.S. soil and have a path to citizenship themselves. Well, they're circumventing the U.S. borders by just going to one of our territories where that process is a little more lax. So a bill was filed, I think, yesterday in the House to stop it. I have no doubt the Senate won't pass it, because the Senate right now, everybody in the Senate is so scared about their election bid, except for maybe John Cornyn.
Well, here's the deal. The immediate left response was they're going to take away your citizenship. Even if you have an American parent, all of a sudden the kid's not going to be an American. All this fear-mongering stuff. Be very leery, folks, of people who try to get you to vote based on fear. And the reality is, like, I did not know this. If you go to American Samoa and have a baby, your kid's just Samoan. The Samoans are not Americans. And as a result, having a baby there does not make your kid an American. But if you're in this northern wherever, which is right over there by China, all you have to do is go in there. Now, this guy did point out, the rules aren't changing. His law is not making it so that if, a husband is American or a father is American and the mother is a local, or the mother is a Chinese person, when they go into that territory, the baby is still American. One parent, you've got birthright citizenship according to the current law. You pointed out yesterday that the Supreme Court seems to be challenging Congress to clarify what they're doing, and that you think that maybe stronger legislation may come out of this in the long run. But this congressperson that introduced the bill is saying, I'm not trying to change the whole apple cart. What I'm trying to do is say that going forward, you can't have two Chinese citizens, for example, who fly in for the weekend, drop a kid, fly out on Monday, and the kid's got dual citizenship, China and the U.S. Because literally, you could take a child that's born in one of our territories who's now an American. You could take that kid back to China. You could teach that kid English. It could be a literal Manchurian Candidate moment where a young, fresh-faced, very positive, instead of Zoran Mamdani, just the nice little Muslim next door, Muslim communist next door. Instead of that, you have the nice, did you know he speaks 5 languages? Yes, he's Chinese, but he's really American, and he's running for president. There's your problem.
Well, Governor Abbott weighing in too on Tuesday signed his executive order that the state will now investigate these birth tourism schemes. We know Ken Paxton earlier this month, I think, launched an investigation into a hospital in the Valley. Well, now Governor Abbott has signed an executive order. 6 state agencies will now be investigating birth tourism statewide.
Right. I think if you don't vote with a fear of like Peter McNally is a very smart man and a very dear friend. I like him. He's fresh faced. He brings excitement to New York. He just wants everybody to be happy. It's okay if he taxes the crap out of the rich. They've got so much money. Peter's a smart man. He falls for it. How many of you are going to fall for it? What if somebody came in and was communist and said, oh, by the way, no more property taxes because the government is going to own your home. The government owns your home, so no more property taxes. We're not going to tax ourselves. We will simply let you live there for free. But now your tax rate is 88% of your income, but you've got free housing, free health care. We're letting you keep 12%. Oh, by the way, education is going to be better because the kids that don't conform, especially the little gender confused kids, we're going to lop their heads off during recess. And that'll teach the others to fall in line. You don't think that's possible? Tell me that's not Russia back in the day, Ash.
It is Russia back in the day, the Soviet Union.
Exactly.
It's China. It's still China today.
I'm absolutely correct. What you allow to make you feel good today may haunt you tomorrow. Case in point, herpes. Communism is like herpes. It's here forever, and it ain't going away.
Well, it needs to be more like polio. We need to eradicate it.
We need a big Republican condom over this country. That's what we need. And white people need to have more babies. Just a fact.
Hey, I want to remind everybody, August 13th at the Victoria Community Center, the National Wild Turkey Federation hosting its annual banquet. This is a lot of fun. A lot of great guns will be available to win, and it's a great time.
There are also several tables available. See, Peter McNally says we're talking about minuscule numbers when mentioning illegal voters. Okay, it's just a little bit of crime, and nobody should be outraged. It's just a couple of guys that want to swim in the women's meets. It's just a dude with a package winning the relay race. What's the harm? Don't worry about it. Can you imagine if Usain Bolt decided to pitch a softball and to put on a tutu and play for the girls team? It's crazy. Craziness.
If he could learn to bunt, he'd never be out.
Right? It's not minuscule. It's covered up by the left because the left benefits. The fact that anybody who calls themselves an American is outspokenly against the SAVE Act is a sure sign that the Democrats know that they can't win on their agenda and they can't win based on legitimate numbers. That's a fact. Tell me I'm spot on, Ash.
No, it's absolutely true because all you have to do is look back at 2020 when all of the ballot harvesting and everything was allowed.
Right.
Joe Biden wins. When states rescinded the ballot harvesting laws in most states outside of California, the Democrats lose.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Folks, we reached the top of the hour. I hope you guys have a great day. Ash and I wish you nothing but the best. Ash, I hope you have a great day, brother.
Thank you.
You be careful,
You
folks.
too.
We're going to get out of here. We love you guys.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.